Welcome, everybody. We are the Self Esteem Coaching Trio. Sandy Riley, Sara Prescott, and I'm Judy Cameron. And we have a couple of Facebook groups that are growing every day because the topic is so important about self-esteem, and a lot of us didn't get that as kids, so we're looking for it as young people and even older people. And we've been there. We've been through a lot of painful stuff that has hurt and didn't get the encouragement, I would say, that a lot of people don't get. So we're here to answer some questions live. And one of the big questions is, what is positive self-esteem? Because so many people talk about looking like models or get criticized. I was criticized quite a bit for not looking the right way. I was at one point too fat for my mother, and then another point I was too thin for her. It was just like, you can't win sort of thing. So that's a great question, Sandy. What is positive? What is a positive self-image? Do you want to start off?
Well, I think the biggest thing about having a positive self-image is being able to accept yourself as you are. And that means imperfections, flaws, whatever you think that you have. And once you do that, once you are compassionate to yourself and accept yourself, then you can kind of start to move on, because you'll stop looking at it as in a negative way and start looking at it in a more positive way. I know Sara does a lot of work on this topic. Would you agree with that, Sara, or anything to add?
Yeah, definitely. I suffered a lot with low self-esteem growing up, to the point where I didn't and couldn't look in mirrors for over 4 years because my self-esteem was so low. And I do think our beauty culture has a massive part to play in women and men's insecurities, and it's interesting because in my live event actually a few weeks back we talked about beauty culture, and I kind of made the point that the self-esteem statistics for low self-esteem are increasing, and they're getting higher and higher and higher. And if buying confidence from surgeries and procedures was the way forward, surely the statistics should be getting lower, and it just shows that, we have a problem right now with, and I think one of the biggest problems is we are never shown how to love and accept ourselves, are we? We're only ever shown from young how to change ourselves, how to judge, compare ourselves, and we're never shown how to love ourselves. So we get to our adult life and we're like, well, I've just been conditioning myself to look at myself in a negative way for so long. I don't even know how to do that anymore. I don't know how to look at myself in a different way anymore. And I think this is, one of the biggest problems that we have. And I think it's hard for us to accept ourselves the way we are if we don't know who we are. And we maybe have never given ourselves opportunities to question, who am I? What do I believe? What do I like? What am I happy with? If the beauty culture didn't tell me that this thing was wrong, would I still have this opinion? And it's a lot of it's about using independent thought and, and questioning what you're told to believe, questioning what you're told is, how you should look, because if we should look how, our beauty culture says we should look, then why are so many people suffering with low self-esteem then? Because at the end of the day, it's just a feeling, isn't it? We're just chasing feelings. When we want to get that surgery or that procedure or whatever it is to make us feel better, we don't want the thing, we want the feeling. Right. And that thing is giving us that feeling. So we're just chasing feelings. And when you understand and realize how much power you have yourself to create these feelings yourself, I think definitely self-acceptance can start to grow then, and self-esteem then starts to grow as well.
Beautiful. I think what I realized is that my indicator of what's true is how it feels in my heart. If my mother would criticize me, that felt horrible. I mean, your mother's supposed to love you and care for you, and she thought she was in her own way, but it's not what I felt. I felt hurt, and unappreciated and all those things. So I now know that if someone says something, maybe not perfectly, if there is such a thing, but if it has kindness behind it, I know that's true. Or if it is a loving statement, then love is how I register if something's true. And so many of us have been taught to say negative things about our bodies because they don't match, as you said, Sara, to the model on the magazine. And yet so few people are that tall and that skinny and, et cetera. So why would we be comparing ourselves to them if there's no real chance of being that tall, or maybe our genetics won't let us be that skinny? It's just a phase. I mean, historically, women have been appreciated as being more curvy in the past, and now we're down to this anorexic boy shape, and that's been around for a while. So I guess realizing that these negative words from my mother, and then the tape I took into my head that said the same thing about not being good enough, whatever body part I was looking at, I realized it was hurting me and my health. And I didn't want to keep doing that. I mean, you just beat your head against a wall so long that you forget you can stop doing that. And you guys are both masters at the mindset. So any tips on making that change from drastic self-negative talk to something less painful?
I think, I just wanted to just touch on the beauty culture just a little bit more before I answer that question.
Yeah.
I think that we know logically that we should love and accept ourselves, don't we? We know we're told to love and accept ourselves. We're told that self-love is an inside job, it's not an outside job. We know this logically, but still we are still driven to doing things that adhere to the culture that we're living in, to the beauty culture. And I think the answer to that is we know that beauty has power. If you're seen as beautiful, you are more seen, you are more heard, your voice is more listened to. Do you know what I mean? You have more power, and you have, you can, your life opens up, and that is
perceived power, I would say.
Perceived power, definitely. And I think, women who fit into this category are celebrated. Women who fit the idea of beauty, they're celebrated and they're put on this pedestal. And so we know logically that self-love comes from within, but we're still more driven to be seen in that category, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I think this is the kind of problem, one of the biggest problems we're having in terms of mindset and negative self-talk. And this is a question that a lady asked me in my group the other day. I think the thing to remember with your mindset is when you have a negative mindset, it is as a result of conditioning over a long period of time. Mm-hmm. And it's difficult to get from a positive to a negative mindset in a quick kind of way, because we have to kind of undo the kind of thought patterns we've created, in our mind.
Negative to positive, you mean?
Yeah. So I think the most important thing to do when you want to change your mindset from negative to positive is to be aware. So be aware of the thoughts you're thinking, because when you're not aware of them, you're reinforcing them without realizing it, and then that's a problem. So being aware of the negative thoughts and observing them, and then challenging them, and then reframing them, and then doing this as often as you can. So I usually use a 4-step process. So reframe, so be aware and observe, challenge, reframe, and repetition. Keep doing it. And and it seems difficult because we know we think between 80 and 90,000 thoughts every day, and 90% are the same as yesterday, aren't they? So we feel like it's quite a difficult thing to do. But if you can, make the commitment to yourself to get aware as possible, get aware of your self-talk and your language as possible, and then start to reframe it, and soon enough it's going to become a skill.
Yeah. And you need to hang out with people like us that are committed to it, or your friends. if you have friends that are committed, what I mean is committed to positive self-talk and change. And a lot of us didn't or don't maybe. So hanging out in our Facebook groups is a good way to, make changes. If you feel comfortable expressing yourself here on our live chats or in the group, and just know that not everybody in the group is as committed as us three for you. So again, when somebody has a comment, perhaps it isn't what you were looking for, wasn't as encouraging as you were hoping for, listen into your heart and just go, start becoming self-discerning, with these comments that you hear in public or even in our group. Listen in for what feels right in your heart and know that we're here. We've lived it. We have grown through the pain and we just want to support you. So hang out with us more and you'll be okay.
Can I add to that?
Yeah,
What
please.
Sara said. I grew up really overweight, and sometimes it's stuff that has been implanted into your thoughts. And when your parent or your loved one tells you, well, honey, you need to really lose some weight. You are just too heavy, or something like that. And Sara's 100% right. You have to, go in there and reframe your thoughts and retrain your brain to do something. But I like to always go a little deeper and find out why. Why did I start thinking like that? When did I start thinking like that? And how? Who kind of talked me into those things? And, we talked a lot about in our course that we have about your inner gremlin. And I think that, we're told by society what we're supposed to look like, how we're supposed to weigh, what we're supposed to do in our lives. And we buy into that. We're told by authority figures, like parents, teachers, or someone else that maybe meant well, thinking that they were helping you. But what they did is just kind of plant seeds in your head of negative self-talk. And once you kind of figure out who it was or how it started, for me, it was a lot easier to reframe the thoughts and say, well, you know what? I'm my own person. My belief set is this. And yeah, I am a little heavy, but that's my decision whether or not I have to fix that. And that's how I came to start loving myself and working toward total acceptance. Do we ever get totally accepted of ourselves? Most people don't. I think it's something we work on every day. It's a journey. It's a process. It's a marathon, I guess is the best way to say it, because it gets better each day, but we all have those thoughts that kind of, they're locked away in the back of our head, and sometimes they pop out in situations. And, retraining your brain to something positive is very important. But I think getting to the root of why the seed was planted is just as important as that. And once you understand that, you can let it go and say to yourself, you know what, I'm pretty damn good anyway. And let's just move on and forget what was said and start believing what you believe. It's what is, you truly know that you're kind, you're considerate, you're compassionate. So why aren't you showing those things to yourself?
Yeah.
And that's what maybe made me turn the corner, is realizing that I was a pretty good person, and I just needed to let her out.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's powerful as well. Let her out. I love that. I think we get scared to show our true, authentic selves because we fear so much. We fear judgment so much. We fear not being accepted. We fear rejection so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the only thing I think this is when you get to a place where you can really feel like you can be your authentic self. I think it's the most liberating you will ever feel, and there's so much peace and happiness that comes with that. And I definitely agree with you, Sandy, with belief systems. Our beliefs are given to us. Either we create them ourselves based on experiences, or we take on other people's belief systems as our own. You know, if you were bullied at school, you may take on the things that people said about you, or somebody, or an ex-partner, or a friend, or whatever it is. But your low self-esteem and your low self-esteem is just a set of negative beliefs. That's all it is. And, you know, when you make a conscious decision to really dig deep and find out, okay, where did that come from? Because we're not born with these negative beliefs, you know, we're not born with this crippling low self-esteem, crippling low confidence. So I think it's a case of definitely questioning, where and why do I feel this way? And challenging it, and then reframing it. Yeah. And I think, as you say, Sandy, it's a marathon. And, you know, growing your self-esteem is it's a step-by-step, brick-by-brick process, you know. And it's, you know, what we're all going to be doing. And even, for example, me as a coach now, if I started to talk about myself in a negative way, and if I started to behave in a negative way about myself, my self-esteem is going to start dropping. Do you know what I mean? Because you always have to consciously make sure you're doing the things that are going to, you know, make sure you're speaking your voice, making sure you're questioning these negative thoughts, making sure you're behaving in ways which empower you and not disempower you. It's a constant choice every single day, you know, to be as conscious as you can. And yeah, I think it's important, definitely.
Yeah, truly. And the energy, that's what I like to focus on, teaching Qigong and acupressure point tapping. For me, it's not just the words or the mindset, it's also the energy behind those statements and feelings and memories and behaviors and all of it. And more and more people like Joe Dispenza or Deepak Chopra are talking about our quantum potential, which is the source energy that we're made of, is full of all possibility. And we have that. Once you get beyond the the negative thoughts, the positive, loving potential is infinite. And so with the tools I teach, like tapping, which is just fingertip tapping on acupressure points, when you're sad, when you're angry, when you feel hurt, in our units tab, the second day of 7 days to more self-esteem, I created a 7-part little video series. And it's incredible, really. It's the incredible information. It includes some of what we teach in our more expansive course, the Self Esteem Solution. But with tapping on certain points of your body, you can let go of the old pain. It is an energy that can leave your body. It does not have to recycle over and over and over endlessly. Amen. It doesn't. It can be released so you can be free to think more positively. And it, for me, my growth was kind of like this. Got better, some bad stuff again. Got a little better, learned from it, got some bad stuff. Good stuff, and it just goes up, but the line is always up.
Yeah.
And you become more resilient, you know, to the negativity that's, wow, today, especially in our world today, there's so much pain and negativity. And in my mind, it's because a lot of people haven't processed their pain yet. They haven't expressed it yet. And that's, to me, a good thing to get it out. Ideally, it would be better if it was a responsible release, like with tapping or coaching. But it's vital to get these old patterns and beliefs out of our system so that we can heal and start to be more loving, build on that. And then you actually find you have more love to give. Being in a loving place is very attractive. It's very attractive. That's what all humans want. So if you want to be the so-called attractive model on the pedestal that you were talking about, Sara, just do it from your heart, and the sparkle in your eye will be attractive to people.
Yeah.
And following what feels passionate to you will attract people with the same passion or interests. And there you go. There are your friends. There are your partners from a whole place.
Yeah, definitely.
So
A question which I get asked as well a lot is, well, this is what makes me feel bad about my body. And I think looking at what does make you feel bad about your body, you know, is it people around you, your friendship circle, is it partners, is it people at work? What makes you feel bad? Is it the music, the films, the culture? You know, what is it that's making you and contributing to you feeling bad about yourself, and recognizing these things which are having a negative impact on you, and, you know, choosing how to distance yourself or communicate how you feel, and, you know, start to do something about it, you know, because if we surround ourselves with negativity, with things that make us feel bad all the time, we're going to feel bad. Do you know what I mean? We are going to feel bad. So, you know, looking at these things which are contributing to our low self-esteem, contributing to our negative, you know, self-image, and really questioning, okay, what do I need to do about this situation? Because right now I don't need this. It's not helping me. So what can I do about it? And I understand with that, you know, it can be quite scary if it's maybe a partner who puts you down, or a parent or somebody who puts you down. I understand it can be quite daunting to communicate that with somebody, but I think recognising that your voice matters and you are in control of your life, the people you surround yourself with, and what you choose to let in. And I think dealing with these kind of situations and people in a way which empowers you, it's going to be beneficial for you. Separating yourself from that negativity, if anything is making you feel bad, it's going to really make a, you know, a huge difference to how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, that is so true.
You know, another thing that, you know, when you're trying to become more positive about yourself and you have recognized that your negative self-talk is there, you know, you have to surround yourself with positive people and the people that love and care about you. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to let things go. That includes people that may not fit into your healing of yourself. And it's tough, you know, because those people are part of your life and it's hard to let them go. But you have to make yourself a priority. You have to say, you know, I'm no longer going to be negative about myself, and these are the steps I'm going to take. And unfortunately, sometimes it hurts. It hurts when you do that. And, you know, when you dig deep and you have to, you know, make changes or choices in your life that aren't exactly comforting. But in the end, you have to look at what and why you're doing things. You know, if you're telling yourself every morning, you know, I am worthy and I am loved and I am, but then you go into work, let's say, and you hear, you know, all the day long, it's negative stuff about you. You're stupid. You can't do this. It doesn't matter what you do. If the negative outweighs the positive, you're not going to be able to do the journey. And you have to make some hard decisions. And I think that, you know, one of the things is when you're thinking about what you have to do, you have to really sit down and think and contemplate what you're going to do. That's when you have to seek out someone in a support system. You have to have some kind of support system, whether it's a friend that you can confide in, a counselor, a coach. You know, journaling was a big thing for me. I was able to release all that hurt into some really, let's say, powerful statements. And, you know, sometimes I go back and read them now and I'm like, wow, did I really feel that way? Yeah, I did. You know, and power of release when you write something down and let it go and say, I'm no longer going to let this control me anymore, is probably one of the hardest things. I think all of us would agree it's hard to let things go because they're comforting even though they're harmful.
Yes.
They're familiar.
And
Yeah.
familiar,
Yeah.
right?
And the loving self-care statements are for our brain foreign. So you have to repeat, like you said, Sara, to get them ingrained. And I agree with the support. That's why we started our groups and why we're going to be doing these live events. So we can support you. That's when you get to the place where you really care about yourself and you have good information, all you want to do is share it, right?
Yeah,
And help
definitely.
other people get to the other side. That's sort of our life mission here.
Yeah, yeah. I
Is
think
there
that is
anything
best.
else you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Sandy, that was a great point. And, asking yourself, what are you prepared to give up? Because sometimes growth, almost every time actually, growth comes at a cost. Growing your self-esteem comes at a cost. So ask yourself, what are you prepared to give up for this journey for yourself? Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a situation or something that's holding you back. But ask yourself, what are you prepared to give up?
And
Um,
a job like that, right? The old
yeah,
job that's critical, find
yeah.
something new, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And what I just want to end with saying is, if we're going to look at all the negative things about ourselves, we have to start looking at the positive. There's the yin and yang, the bad, the good. So, what are you grateful for? Your body. Your body works so hard to keep you alive every single day. If we think about all the things our mind and our body does, it's absolutely, you can't even fathom, the things that we don't know. But I think, what are you grateful for? Your body, and focus on the things that you're grateful about.
Mhm.
And building this kind of respect, this level of respect for our body, is important. So ask yourself, what are you grateful for? I think that's a great question.
Well, I tell you, 10 years ago, I've told you both this, but maybe new to others, that I was bitten by a tick, and I had been pretty much a type A, get it done, do 10 million things a day type of person, along with fitness as well, staying fit. And then this tick caused me to become paralyzed with extreme pain. And so my life was looking basically like it was over. How was I going to do my life? And it was a big wake up call, long story short, to go deeper with the healing modalities that I had been studying. I did heal, and I can't tell you how much more I appreciate my body now that I'm able to bend and move and run and do all these sports and have a fabulous business and fabulous colleagues. And I appreciate my body more than ever. And sometimes you do have to have kind of a wake up call like that to snap out of your old pattern, which doesn't help us. So all of it is good in the long run.
Mm.
It's worth it.
Yeah, I think just stay on this journey. It doesn't matter if you come off the journey a little bit, just get back on. Just keep taking one step each day, and it doesn't mean you have to make big drastic changes in your life every day, because also the mind doesn't like big changes. It will try and stop you
Right.
from doing them anyway. So even if you're just doing little changes, each and every day, just stay on this journey. It's the relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you'll ever have. And I think it's worth the wait, and it's worth the effort and the dedication and the consistency. So definitely just stay on it.
And
So many good things ahead. Yeah.
if change was easy, we wouldn't be here right now. Change isn't easy. It's meant to be difficult and soul searching, and because if it was easy, everybody would have already
Right.
done it.
I'll be there.
You know, and the thing is you have to look at yourself as a whole person. The body is one part of it, but you look at your mind and what your mind can do, and you look at your senses and how important it all goes together to make one thing. And if you're focusing on the outside and not looking at the inside, then you're not going to see how magnificent and amazing you are. Because you know what? Your brain, think of everything. Like she said, we have 90,000 thoughts a day. I mean, to me, that's amazing when you think about that. Sometimes they're repeat, like she said, but sometimes it's good stuff, and it's imagination and our creativity. And, if you get focused on the outside appearance, you are going to be so disappointed. and not live a life full of purpose. And
Just on the outside, yeah.
yeah, you have to look at yourself as a whole person, every part of you, your brain, your muscles, everything. You have to just understand how beautiful and amazing your body is.
Exactly. That's so beautifully said. Thank you both. Well, we're going to be doing these every Monday for a while, and look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for joining us. And any parting words?
Just stay on this journey. This is the
Yeah.
best journey you'll ever take. And even though it gets hard, you know, sometimes it'll be challenging, you'll be tested. You're worth it. So definitely stay on this journey, stay on this path.
Exactly. I mean, you are unique. You are perfect the way you are. You know, be accepting of yourself. Cut yourself some slack if you make a mistake. You know, we're human after all. We're not robots. And you know what? If you're on the journey and you get off the path, let us help you get back on the path. That's what we're for.
Yeah.
You know, and it is well worth the journey. Trust me, all three of us have been there. So we've all known your pain and we know how hard it is. And we wouldn't ask you to do anything that we wouldn't do, right? So
it's so worth it. It's so worth it. So many good things open up for you when you do. Thank you both.
You're welcome.